Welcome to Eat Clean Lesson 9, and today's topic is brought to us by one of our readers who sent in a question. So it's going to clarify some of the stuff we went over last week. So if you would want to put a topic on today, it would be fueling for simultaneous performance and weight loss, and really is that possible? So the question was, hi, my name is Adam and I've just seen your video about pre and post workout snacks and I had a question. I'm 14 and trying to lose weight for hockey. I was wondering if all that Powerade or Gatorade is good for me. Should I be drinking Powerade before and after my workouts, or should I pre one day and post the next day to cut down on the amount of Powerade that I'm drinking? So great question, and basically it brought up a couple of things that I want to discuss or clarify from last week's lesson. So one of his questions was, do I have to have that Gatorade or Powerade pre-workout? Absolutely not. So if you find that you've, in your pre-workout meal, so a pre-workout meal, that's something that you've eaten somewhere between an hour and a half to 3 hours pre-workout, if that substantially fills you up and you feel fine, you don't feel low energy going into a practice or a game or a tournament, feel free to just drink water. That's what I would recommend. Now, if it's an important game or a very important practice, what I might do is I might have a Gatorade or Powerade on hand so that if, say, halfway through that event you hit the wall, then you can just sip a little bit as needed to get you through the workout. But do you need to have it pre-workout for performance? Absolutely not. You just need it in the off chance that you're feeling low energy. So hopefully I've addressed that question. Then post-workout, it really is important to refuel with some form of carbohydrate post-workout if you have some sort of performance goal. If your goal is weight loss, like I talked about in the last lesson, in the occurrence where you have a very light workout, you have an endurance type workout, so it could be a light practice, a super light practice where you're working more on strategy, where you're not burning a lot of calories or energy, or it could be a very light endurance workout where you're staying within the fat burning zone, or you could be doing a strength training workout. You can experiment with only refueling with protein post-workout, and in this case I would recommend a protein powder, the supplement of protein powder if you're going to experiment with this. And I say experiment because, as Adam kind of alluded to in his question, he talked a little bit, without maybe knowing about it, about the concept of cycling. So if you are going to experiment with not refueling with carbohydrates, and I only recommend that in the scenario where you're trying to lose weight, you would want to cycle carbohydrates in and out of your post-workout fueling. So what I mean by that is you have to listen to your body. So no matter what, most likely if you are not fueling with carbohydrates post-workout, ultimately you're going to start to have that dead feeling in your legs or your arms, and you're just not going to feel motivated going into the next workout. So your options are to pre-fuel with a little bit of Gatorade or Powerade, but while that is a viable option, if you've been using the strategy of not refueling with carbohydrate post-workout, basically you've set yourself up so that your glycogen stores in your legs and your arms and your muscles, they're all empty. So we have to, every few days, refuel and pump those up, and then you won't have to pre-fuel with some sort of carbohydrate or sugar. I hope that makes sense. So again, the weight loss is a very tricky balance. You have to flirt with how few carbohydrates you have. I use that word flirt because you have to kind of try to stay low, but then ramp up when your body tells you you need more. So again, clarification, every, say, 3 days, you always want to fuel with some sort of carbohydrate, 3 to 4 days, no matter what type of workout you have and no matter what your performance goals are. Hopefully that makes sense. If your performance goals are indeed performance and not weight loss, you're always refueling with some carbohydrate post-workout. Other questions that we need to talk about, or other things that this question has addressed. Again, this is all written out, hopefully nice and clear on the actual post. So if you have further questions, refer to that. But very, very important concept that this question has addressed is the idea of an adolescent, so a 14-year-old really wanting to lose weight. I've never met Adam. I don't know what he looks like, but I can tell you this. over the years of training at Performance Institute, we've had a number of adolescents, somewhere between the ranges of 11 to 17, both male and female, come through, and they're carrying what I would call affectionately a little bit of extra baby fat. They're fit, they're healthy, they perform really well, but they're just carrying a little bit of extra bulk. And if you all think back to a certain time in your life, I know I had a certain time period where I was definitely carrying more fat than I ever had before, and it's during that time when you're in that puberty stage where your body's trying to figure stuff out. Don't get too concerned, and parents, coaches, your peers, so you don't want to put too much pressure on your friends. If you fall into this adolescent stage and you are somebody, or you have friends who maybe have a little bit of extra body fat, you want to encourage them just to eat healthy, eat a wide range of vegetables, lean proteins, healthy carbohydrates, and not do any severe calorie restriction. And to focus on performance, to focus on feeling good, playing good, just really being healthy. Because what ultimately happens with these kids, these adolescents, 2 years down the road, they walk back into Performance Institute. They've been training the whole time, they've been eating healthy, nothing dramatic has changed, and all of a sudden that weight falls right off. And it's just the hormones have figured out what's supposed to be going on, and their body adjusts. So I can't emphasize enough, don't put excessive pressure on yourself or parents on your kids to be excessively lean. The stereotypes that we see, or the models that we see on the covers of magazines, even they will admit, there's lots of great posts on what it takes to be a cover model on a fitness magazine. They do not stay that way. That's a very short window of time. They're dehydrated. That's just not the norm for people, so please don't aspire to look like that. Healthy, yes. Strong, yes. Lean, yes, but not excessively emaciated lean, I would say. So recapping from last week's lesson, if you are a competitive athlete who is also trying to lose weight, you need to plan on doing it in your off season, because going back to what the whole point of this lesson was, is it possible to have peak performance and still lose weight? I would say you can perform and lose weight. I don't think you can be at peak performance while you are losing weight. It's just too tricky to do, because your body is in calorie deficit, and that's not the ideal scenario for building muscle, for being primed going into a workout. So make sure you do it in your off season, or do it at a time that is not absolutely critical, and be prepared that you're not going to be necessarily performing at your absolute peak, the best that you could be. So hopefully that addressed some questions. As a little bonus, if you want, at the end of this little video, I will show you what I have made for my family's week bulk lunches. So going back a few lessons now, one of the most important things I think in being healthy, being lean, is preparing bulk weekly lunches that focus on lots of vegetables, a lean protein, and some good, healthy, starchy, non-processed carbohydrate. So come and check that out if you're interested. Until then, we'll see you next week. And if you have any items you'd like addressed, please email me and let me know what you'd like to see covered on an Eat Clean lesson. Thank you. This week, I'm also sharing with you what this week's bulk meals are going to be, my bulk lunch meals. So here it is in action. I'm making 2 huge pans of vegetables that I'm stir frying. So in these pans, the vegetables are a couple big heads of broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, celery, and then I also had about 3/4 of a bag left over of some Asian stir-fry veggies. I chopped up an onion, and there's some tofu in there for a little bit of protein. Last night we cooked up some free from antibiotic pork on the barbecue, so I'll chop that up and portion that up. And then the starchy carbohydrate, the non-processed starchy carbohydrate, this is actually something I found at Costco. So it's a mixture of grains, and the package here shows you, if my phone will focus. It's not really focusing, but basically what it says in here is spelt, barley, durum wheat, rice, and whole grain oats. So it's a combination of all sorts of different things. So an option just instead of a basic rice I thought would be interesting to try. So those are going to be my lunches for the week. I'll portion it up with my 5th size portion of my protein and my starchy carb, and then load it up with the veggie mixture. enjoy. Oh, and the flavoring, what I used was super simple. No recipe. I just did soy sauce, probably for this amount of the veggie mixture. It was probably about somewhere between about a half a cup of soy sauce, maybe a little bit less. A bunch of ginger. I don't know how much. Jake was in charge of the ginger, and there was a lot. We like ginger, so that's okay. And then a little bit of stevia to sweeten it up. So super simple.